But first, it feels like it's been a long time since I've been there, so good to see y'all. Just today, this morning, just in our running back meeting room, we had meetings this morning with the guys. We just talked about gratitude and also looked at some water pace and stuff. So just want to say thankful to be here and just everyone, man. Just try to be a positive influence in someone's life. One small nugget a day can help someone out. You never know what someone's going through. But just try to, every day I'm trying to be a positive influence on my guys and trying to, make sure they're doing the same. And also I want to say, congratulations once again. I said it online, but never had a chance to say it in person or put it on tape. Congratulations to the women's basketball team for a great run to the championship. They inspired me the way they play and the way, what Coach Luke, they said, know what time it is. And when each game, each situation, they knew what time it was. So with that, let's get to it.
Yeah, appreciate you coming in with us again, Coach.
Yes, sir.
With Z White and Kevin being gone, obviously there's opportunities for your guys. Has that sort of been the theme for your group? Is like, hey, there's some opportunities for y'all?
Yeah, I mean, it's great opportunities, but also, it's an opportunity for us as a running back group to show what we're going to be this year. With kind of some new guys in there. Opportunity for me to show, just some growth amongst guys that I have on the team and just see how we implement our new guys within a roster. But it's been fun because throughout spring ball, I've got two new guys in, CBS, who Christian Bill Smith, I call him CBS, and ALC, Lavassier Carroll. They're both already here now, along with DJ Twitty, who's from Chapman, originally from South Carolina. He's from ETSU, from East Tennessee. They're all here now working with the guys, and it's been really good competition amongst the group. We've been pushing each other, and you can see the growth and see guys getting better. But right now, it is an opportunity for a lot of guys to show what they got. Marshawn has been doing a really good job throughout the winter, continue throughout the spring ball, but just opportunity, space on opportunity, and I always tell the guys, don't let opportunity embarrass you. So make sure we're ready to go.
Montario Marshawn came in here and talked about how hard maybe mentally it was for him last year, still coming off the ACL. Just what kind of growth have you seen from him, dating even back to the end of last year, going into spring now?
Well, I've been there with the ACL injury before, and I know how it is. Mentally, you just when you're back and you feel like you're back, you can do stuff you can't do, everything that your mind thinks you should be able to do, or that you got your muscle memory. You all got the muscle memory in you, but you still just can't pull it off yet. So I'm just fighting through that, and coming back winter, you can see. He has his confidence back. You can see him moving around. Y'all guys been at practice, just seeing him move. But the biggest thing is just he's understanding football a lot more. We know Marshawn because, he's been known since he was in Pop Warner and playing ball. But that was his first time playing a college football season last year. He was a freshman. He was a rookie. So, we expect all those things. He put a lot of things on himself, but you can just see the growth now. You can see him starting to be a leader amongst the team and him just really feeling fine and good with the scheme and, feeling more comfortable in his second year as being the, SEC college football running back.
Coach, what have you seen from the new guys, from Smith and Carroll? What has stood out, and what do you like about them?
First, I like him. I like him as men. Both of them I thought would bring something positive to the group. Not even just on the field, but off the field. Christian Bill Smith was pretty much a captain there at Wake Forest. He was a starter there, so he knows how to. He has a routine. They practice in the morning a little bit earlier than us, so he has a really good routine. He's solid on those things. He was really good in that community, but amongst that, he was a great special teams player and really good in pass pro. And to me, I didn't think we had enough running backs, being those guys on special teams. I wanted to be the best special teams players, on our team in this league. And, with having him, a guy that does that at a high level, but also been a starting running back, that's just really showing some good things to our group because, we want to go to the next level. We want to, be great here, build a championship team here, get our degrees, and we want to go to the next level, play on that next level at running back. And to do so, you got to be a special team. So Christian Bill has brought that to the group. And also, man, he's dynamic. He has a little bit more wiggle than what you think, and he runs heavy. So he's been good. He's picking up the scheme. He's picked it up really, really good. And Lavassier, he's fast. He has real speed, and it's just him about just honing his skills back in. He was playing on the defensive side of the ball, so getting him back to being, understanding running back, getting his pad level back down, and those things like that. But I like this high school tape coming out. He's one of the top backs in the country coming out, and he's brought some positive things to the group off the field, but on the field, man, he has speed. He has a really good hands at the backfield, which I didn't know about. And his hands have been surprising. And I like him as a player. He can continue to grow, and he's having a good spring as well.
Montario, is it fair to say that this year's running back group is a little deeper than what you had last year? And then two, if that is the case from your assessment, How can a deeper running back position just how do you quantify how it just can help an offense as it gets into a year or two in a system and just really finding its way as being a contributor, a consistent contributor within an offense?
Yeah, well, great question. And I think firstly we gotta put it on tape. We gotta show that it's gonna be a deeper group. So you don't really get to see those things in full until we get to the season. But as far as who we got and what we got in the room, I think we have a lot of younger guys that are improving. And I think the best thing is, we had a senior and junior, we had upperclassmen playing last year that we get to get the competition and really get to see guys grow. And I think just having a lot of backs that can, there were times last year we put 3 running backs on the field. So I want us to be able to be multiple and move around, so we got to learn all the formation so we can be multiple. And I wanted the more you can do, the more guys we can get out there. So I wanted to help the team win, whatever case possible. So with us having running backs that can do different things, catch out the backfield, line up in the slot, run inside, run outside, that's just going to help our offense be more multiple. So, we got to continue to do that, build up depth, and just continue to work on special teams. So with us having a deep group, that's just showing special teams as well. But we still working on that. Now you got to wait for the season to really see how deep that's going to be.
I think JuJu missed a little bit of time this spring and obviously had a good start to his career. Where do you see him sort of progressing to, and what's kind of your challenge for him moving into year 2?
Challenged. I want him to be the same weight as Ward Dunn. So that's been his little thing this offseason. Get up to Ward Dunn weight. Somebody that he might not know, but even though JuJu's really good with knowledge of football, that's been a theme in our room. I've been kind of show my guys, the old school guys, show them some of the guys that inspired me. And, Walter Payton, we watched that today, A Football Life of Walter Payton in our room. But for JuJu, just those things, man, it just continues to improve. Last year he was a really good kickoff returner, but we looked at some of his kickoff return clips and just showing some small things he can improve on in those areas. He had a few runs last year where, me, I'm just watching the tape where I feel like he can get some more of those runs. But, just improving on those small things and being able to be viable on third down. He's a smaller guy, but he's strong, man. He can pick up blitz. So just, showing that consistently that you can pick up blitz, but just continue to grow as a player. He's dynamic. He was dynamic when he came here. And I think the biggest thing that he showed was his toughness to run inside and outside. So I'm happy to see him continue to grow. And he's actually starting to be a leader on the team as well. He's not afraid to speak up with his teammates and tell you if you're not doing something the right way. So, and he brings a positive energy, man. JuJu brings the juice to practice, and you can kind of feel the difference when he's not there. So I'm glad that he's here, and he's going to continue to grow as a player.
Montario, how many guys would you like to have able to play in a game? I think Satterfield said earlier in the spring that he wants to have 1 or 2 guys that carry the bulk of the load. Is that kind of in line with what your thinking is?
It all depends. I do like to have a starting tailback. So and I always say, I tried everything. It's really good competition. And amongst our guys, when it's a competitive group like that, you got to make sure that if it's important, you're going to track it, and if you track it, you're going to actually improve, because when you track it something, you see, I only ran 18 point whatever miles per hour. I can run faster than that. You usually improve those things. So I make sure those guys see what's going on. We track everything, lows, drops, MAs, everything, so that they can see that, And then I feel like the players always select who start. I always say I get to pick it, but really you guys pick it. So from what we see on tape, from what I feel and what I see from you, and then also we're going to track those things. But I definitely want to have a starting tailback, but you never can have enough guys ready to go. I want to have, if you ask me how many I want to have ready to play in the game, 6 or 7, and then make the coaches make us have to make a hard decision on who's going to play, who's going to make it. But I want to have those guys ready, and when your number's up, you're ready to go. But I definitely want to have a starting running back that we can lean on and play from there.
Yeah, Montario, I guess kind of follow up with that. How much last year with, almost the revolving door at the position on game day, how did it change maybe the way you tried to coach, or what did you learn about yourself as a coach just kind of during that process?
Well, with Kevin Harris kind of missing some time, you think you have him penciled in to be your starter. And then, with him being out and, Z White having a really good spring, fall camp and those things, but then still with JuJu coming in as freshman, showing some really good things where he's going to get on the field to play, and also Marshawn playing well. So it was just kind of how it worked, where we had 3 guys playing really, really well going into the first game. Z White started, of course, had 100 and something yards, and now you get your 1,000-yard rusher back and just kind of meshing the whole group together. I don't think it was anything mismanaged, because I think those guys deserve some reps and deserve to play when they did. But as you seen later on in the year, when you seen guys kind of step up and solidify themselves a little bit more here and there where, all right, now we're playing these two guys and sprinkling him in. A little bit more opportunity for guys to kind of get going. So I think that just depends on those guys. If someone going to separate yourself right now and be starting tailback, I'm fine with that. But for me, as I think it helped our room grow because now guys have confidence and they play significant plays in the SEC environment. So I think for our room is going to just continue to have growth.
A couple things I want to follow up about the Warrick Dunn thing with JuJu. Did he know? Did JuJu know who Warrick Dunn is? Or?
Yeah, he knew who Warrick Dunn was. And so like last year, right now it's kind of around that same time where I feel like it was this time last year when I spoke to you. I need to be up here more often, I feel like. But I felt like it was last year this time when I spoke with y'all. And, I like to do the comparison with my guys to kind of show them who they are. So his old school comparison is Warrick Dunn, and his new school guy is Eckler. Austin Eckler, those two guys that I really see as that really good traits where they can play inside and out, they could pick up pass pro, and they were smaller guys in stature, you would think, but they were full-time running back. So, but JuJu knew who Warrick Dunn was. Yes, sir.
And Rashod Amos, I guess who are his new school, old school comparisons, and what have you seen from him this round?
So Amos, I'm trying to show him his old school. So anyways, before his new school, he like Saquon. So I got him with Joe Mixon this year for his guy because I like how Saquon runs it patiently. He's a bigger back, kind of how Amos is, but has some things at the backfield. And he watches enough Saquon, so I just wanted him to study another NFL running back and see kind of how his patterns and those things. And the Bengals run a lot of the same schematically stuff that we run in the run game, so he can see himself doing those runs as well. And old school, they don't know a lot of the old school guys as much as I thought, man, but I'm showing Amos Earl Campbell, but that's not who he runs like. But I wanted to add that little implement of Earl Campbell game, add that finish to your game.
Montario, how humbling is it when you show them an old school guy and they don't know who it is? Is it pretty humbling?
You talking about making me feel?
Yeah. I feel old.
It's not really that. Just me, even when I was young. So just how I always went through football. So my dad was a Walter Payton fan growing up. So my dad just showed me Walter Payton fan. Walter Payton film when I was a kid, when I was 8, 9 years old. So I just always been a historian of the game. I like old school running backs. I always went back and made sure I knew everybody. So I wanted to do the same thing for them. And also just the intent and the way those old school running backs ran, man, they play the game a little different. Watching old Gale Sayers and Tony Dorsett and Jim Brown and Walter Payton, just the toughness they ran with Emmitt Smith and just the toughness Eric Dickerson that I was showing, Lavassier, just some of the toughness and the way they ran, just the intent they ran with. That's what I want you to see when you put on our tape. Just, man, look at the intent and what he's trying to get done right there. So that's just trying to harp on those things. But then also, most of those guys have a story. So just showing them the behind the scenes, like Walter Payton ran up the hill, showing them the hill, the story of the hill, and those things like that. They used to attack every offseason. And just how Marshall Faulk trained in the offseason. So just also showing, all right, that's what you see on the tape, but how did they get there? So that's just a very good reference point to show because these guys have had success at the highest level, but now you can see the things that they put into it to get where they were at.
And you mentioned tracking a lot of different things over the course of practice or games. What are some things that you value the most in terms of tracking and really paying attention to?
Ball security, explosive runs, pass protection. Top 3. Ball security, protecting the quarterback, making safety miss, and all you're going to be explosive and just get us some yards because we know that, you score. I don't want to be wrong with the statistic, but when you have an explosive on a drive, your chances of scoring goes up. I don't want to say the wrong word, but it's above 60% now when you get explosive on a drive. So, just those are the top three things: protecting our quarterback, ball security, and explosive. All right, thank y'all.